Thank you for that intro. Thank you so much. Hey guys, how are you? This is very exciting to be here. Thank you for having me.
Sure.
You made this all happen.
Yeah.
You made my commencement speech happen. Please. We met in New York. She was like, "Would you ever come to Rutgers?" I said, "Yeah. Do you think I could get a degree?"
So it's an anonymous nomination, so just so you know. But I had the pleasure of meeting you last year at a really important gathering of artists and activists and advocates.
Yeah.
It was my first EAD, actually. So thank you for just creating that space for all of us.
Oh, of course.
So beautiful. And then again, I got to see you again this year.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, thank you for coming and making your way here, making your way back to Rutgers.
Yeah, I haven't been here for 15 years. When I left, and I always kind of thought about coming back, but I was afraid because I think I owe money. I just stopped coming, and I think there was a payment, and then I just got rid of that email.
So you're for debt. But now you're really like.
There's some level of debt that may have compounded. I don't know what's going on, but we did not have this. I'm blown away by this. We would hang out by the Starbucks in the camp, like the R Center, the R, that was all we had. But it was all Egyptians. It was amazing. But this is unbelievable. This is so special. And I feel like I'm in just like the coolest artistic space I've been in a while, and I can't believe it's on campus. It's really amazing. Yeah.
Thank you. Our division of our former chancellor, Nancy Cantor. So we're just indebted to her ad infinitum. Okay, so we're gonna jump in.
Sure.
Okay. But again, thank you for coming back. Dee Mattis is here, and she's not gonna send you a bill.
Okay. Oh, we're clear. Oh, this is amazing. I thought I was gonna have to handle this on Thursday. I'm so happy.
Bring it up, but, okay, so I want to clear something up. Get the elephant in the room. Today's
Please.
Malcolm X's birthday.
Amazing.
Yeah, and I read in an interview that you did with your very good friend Ayo Edebere,
Yes.
that she asked you a question about a book, a work of art, or a film that shaped you and that informed you at a very important time in your life. And you said 2 works. Do you remember this?
Yes.
Harry Potter books.
Yes.
And Malcolm X's autobiography.
Yes.
And you said there's a lot of crossover.
Between Harry Potter and Malcolm X.
Yes, so I just want to clear that up, or at least have you.
Sometimes I just say sentences like they're not real. I'm just saying things.
Yeah. But my sister thought I was really bold to try to joke with a comedian, but I was like, I'm gonna go for it.
To link them.
Yeah. Hello, I'm gonna go for it. But anyway, but if you can talk about the crossover, or more importantly, how did Malcolm's book shape your? It shaped my life. It's one of the 3 books that changed the trajectory of who I became and who I am. But how did it shape your life on his 100th day of his 100th birthday celebration?
I've always been, I think with any of the characters that I gravitate towards, people that I like to write or I like to play, I'm really into just the human arc of change and of redemption and his story. I remember when I read that, Alex Haley, as told to Alex Haley, I was just blown away that this guy goes from being Detroit Red to, being one of the most influential voices in the civil rights movement, and he essentially pushes America in a new direction. And so I love that this guy could be the best hustler and also could be, this person that changed the course of history, of this country, of the world. And that, to me, when I read that, the way that moved me, it just kind of makes you feel like, you can't be complacent when you have someone like that in the lineage of the tradition, that I grew up in. And I also was really inspired too, because I probably read that in high school, and then I actually distinctly remember coming to Rutgers Newark, and it was the first time I had ever met, there were some classmates, I had never met Black Muslims. And that was really cool too, and just seeing, the different traditions, but also the things that were the same. Because I grew up in really, I didn't grow up with a ton of Muslims, but when we would go somewhere, it would be like an Arab, pocket. Mosques can be very, segregated. And then I came to this campus, and when I came here in 2009, I remember there was a statistic that it was the most diverse campus in the U.S. and I don't know if it still is. It probably is.
It is.
It's got to be, right? Yeah, which is unbelievable, you know, and you definitely felt that.
Okay, thank you. So you grew up in Rutherford, New
Yeah,
Jersey?
Rutherford. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so before we get into the episodes that everyone watched and just your larger body of work, I just want to get some biographical stuff. So you grew up in Rutherford, not in a particularly, well, it's a diverse community, but not necessarily a big Muslim community.
Yeah, like just a couple people.
Yeah.
Yeah, but definitely not. Yeah.
And then you were born in 1991.
Yeah.
So you were 10 years old when 9/11,
Yeah.
right? So and I know Rumi's not based on you, so
Yeah.
I want to clear that
Yes.
up. But I do think it's interesting, and we can talk about like why this character is a middle schooler and why that's important. But in your stand-up, your Rami, you said feelings. You talk about how 9/11, as it changed America, it changed the world, and it changed you profoundly as a 10-year-old. But also, like in that comedy, like that stand-up you do, you also talk about how it just made you more spiritual, more religious. And I don't want to like do your joke because your joke would be better than I would do it. But you know, if not for this like moment in which the world changes, in a way you become more Muslim. And I just wanted you to talk a little bit about like when you look back at that moment, what that means, because then we obviously have this show, this character we see Rumi is deeply grappling with 9/11 as this transformative moment. So I don't know.
Yeah. Are you guys students now? A lot of you? Like, is that, like when you said 1991, does that sound like I'm old? Does that sound crazy? Like, I see some like thumbs up, yeah, dude, like what the hell is that?
Well, I started college then, so that's what's really scary.
You started college
Yeah,
then?
in 1992.
You look younger than me.
No, I mean,
Whoa.
when I read that, I was like, oh my god, he's so young. Anyway, just go on.
I know, I see this dude's like, what? Yeah. Crazy. Yeah, you know, the seed of that joke is the reality that, you know, I think when we were kids, when that happened, and I guess I can say this with a bit of a distance to many people here, and then there's some people here who, you know, are older than me, but that was like the true beginning of the 24-hour news cycle, I would say. And that was the true beginning of kind of being able to use technology and live television to spread ideas at a really intense volume. And so I've always been really fascinated, especially over the last, I would say, 10 years. I think over the last 10 years, I was able to understand what had happened to me when I was younger, you know? So maybe I didn't really understand it till I was around like 25. And then I went, oh wait, like I've had this like, I've been like running from something for 15 years. You know, like just this feeling of, I put up some sort of guard and I had some sort of reaction, and I don't think I found words for it until my mid-20s. But when I looked back at it, what I had realized was two things happened. One is you're kind of just in this perpetual defensive state because of, you know, what is a massive misunderstanding. I mean, it is. And that's like the nicest way to put it, but you know, you're taking in a dehumanization that's kind of happening around you, and it happens in all sorts of ways, right? Because you don't really need to be Muslim to be on the other end of it. You just need to look different. And so, you know, you hear stories of people at that time boycotting a local convenience store that was owned by an Indian family who were Hindu. It didn't matter. It was just what's the proximity of this thing. And so that happened. And obviously so much of that is at the basis of the show that we made, wanting to look at that era. But what I realized was I kind of had this thing, and this is what's always more interesting to me, is like, there's the defense you kind of have to do, you know, to the outside world, but then there's that inner seeking that you kind of do within yourself. And you kind of go, well, all right, I've already told everyone what they're claiming is not true, but now I want to find out for myself. You know, because you can kind of say it to like fight people off, like, no man, that's bullshit, like that's not, you know, who we are. And then you start to go, okay, but is that like, what is it really? And then I really started looking into, you know, my tradition. I started looking into my faith probably in a way that I don't know I would have if I wasn't in the position that I was in. Because I kind of had to know is what everyone around me saying, you know, is it true? My parents would go, it's not true, but
Yeah.
you know, when you're a kid, you have like an inherent distrust with your parents. I mean, they like make you do things you don't want to do, you know. So it's not like, you know. So so that's what that was.
Yeah. So